It was a quiet morning, the kind that used to make me feel grateful for her. Sunlight slipped through the curtains, the smell of her jasmine shampoo lingering in the hallway. I was making coffee when I heard her voice from the bedroom. Calm, steady, and cruelly certain. "I'm divorcing him," she said. "I can't live on his pathetic salary anymore." The spoon in my hand stopped stirring. The clock above the stove ticked twice before I breathed again. I wasn't supposed to hear that. I wasn't even supposed to exist in that conversation. But there she was, my wife, dismantling the life we'd built with the same tone she used when ordering groceries. She laughed softly. "No, he won't fight it. He's too gentle for that." My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. Instead, something inside me went still, like a lake freezing over. It wasn't just the betrayal that cut through me. It was the contempt, the way she reduced everything I'd given, every late night, every quiet compromise, into a single insult. Pathetic. She kept talking, her voice low, filled with plans for a new apartment closer to work, for freedom, for finally living the life I deserve. I stood there, half hidden behind the door frame, a ghost in my own home. I didn't move until she hung up. When I finally stepped into the room, she smiled at me like nothing had happened. "Morning," she said, her voice smooth, unshaken. I nodded, kissed her on the forehead, and went to work. I didn't ask who she was talking to. I didn't ask why, because I already knew. The truth didn't need confirming. All day, I replayed her words. "I can't live on his pathetic salary." It echoed between my ribs, hollow and precise. I remembered the way she used to call me her rock, the man who grounded her, who made her feel safe. Funny how safety becomes boring once ambition finds a new face. That night, I came home early. She was on the couch, pretending to read, phone screen glowing beside her. I sat across from her, watching her feign calm. "You can have everything," I said quietly. Her eyes flicked up. "What do you mean?" "The house, the car, the savings. I won't fight you." For the first time, she looked unsettled, like she'd rehearsed every argument except this one. "Why?" she asked. "Because I don't want anything that doesn't want me back." She blinked, unsure if it was guilt or confusion behind her silence. I stood, went upstairs, and started packing a small bag. Not for leaving, just for distance. I needed space to breathe, to think, to let the fog settle before I made any move that couldn't be undone. I didn't sleep that night. I sat by the window, listening to her shift restlessly in bed, pretending not to care. I realized then, the woman I loved was gone. The one beside me was just wearing her voice. By morning, I wasn't angry anymore. I was something colder, clearer, the kind of calm that doesn't break. It plans. When the moving truck arrived. It was a Saturday morning, painted gray. I watched from the kitchen window as she and her mother carried boxes to the curb. Her mother didn't even look toward the house. She had that proud, tight-lipped expression people wear when they think they've won something. My wife didn't cry, didn't pause. She just loaded her life into cardboard and didn't look back. I stood in the doorway with a cup of coffee. The same mug she'd once called our morning ritual. Now it just felt like a prop from a play that had ended without applause. As the last box disappeared into the truck, she turned briefly, maybe to say something, but her mother called her name. And that was that. The door of the truck slammed shut. The engine started, and the silence that followed felt heavier than the furniture she'd taken. When they were gone, I walked through the rooms like a stranger visiting someone else's life. The couch was gone. The picture frames were gone. Even the smell of her perfume seemed to have packed itself away. Only the indent of her absence remained. I sat on the floor of the empty living room, the late afternoon light stretching across bare walls. The silence pressed in, sharp and alive. I thought I'd feel broken. Instead, I felt still. There's a strange kind of peace that comes after the storm, when you realize nothing else can be taken from you. That's when her brother called. His tone was smug, rehearsed, the kind of arrogance that runs in families. "She's doing great, man. She finally found someone who matches her drive." I didn't reply. He filled the silence, chuckling. "You'll be fine. Maybe find someone more your level next time." When he hung up, I stared at the empty call log. They all thought I was the weak one, the man left behind. Maybe that's why it didn't hurt anymore. The humiliation had burned away everything soft inside me. What was left was quiet and sharp. That night, I opened my laptop, The glow of the screen painted the room in cold light. I started typing. Not a letter, not a plea, something else. Numbers, accounts, contracts. I'd always handled our paperwork. She never paid attention. She trusted me with details she thought were beneath her. It wasn't revenge I was planning. Not yet. It was understanding. I needed to see the map of our life laid bare, to trace the pattern of where she began to drift, where she'd already built her escape. The more I typed, the clearer it became. There was no sudden betrayal. This was architecture. Months, maybe years, of careful construction. Every business dinner, every late meeting, every missing hour had a rhythm. Now, I leaned back in my chair, the soft hum of the computer filling the silence. Outside, a street light flickered on. I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt awake. She thought she'd left me behind. But in truth, she'd just moved out of the story too soon. Weeks passed. Her new life unfolded online like a highlight reel. Beach photos, wine glasses, hashtags about new beginnings. I didn't comment. I didn't block her. I just watched from a distance, quietly taking note of how happiness can look so rehearsed when it's built on lies. She cut me off completely. Her friends stopped calling. Mutual acquaintances pretended not to notice. I was the ex-husband now, the man who couldn't keep up. Let them think that. People love simple stories. It keeps their worlds neat. But I wasn't sitting in darkness mourning her. I was working. Methodically, patiently, every night. I opened my files again. I went through statements, old messages, business transactions she never cared to understand. The deeper I looked, the more I saw her fingerprints. Subtle, but everywhere. Small withdrawals, sign authorizations, transfers she never thought I'd question. At first, I thought it was sloppiness. Then I realized it was arrogance. She assumed I'd never look. She believed my silence was stupidity. That's when I noticed something else. Her lawyer's name. It kept showing up in the strangest places, not just on divorce paperwork, but on earlier documents, receipts, travel logs, shared expenses that didn't make sense. It wasn't a professional relationship. It was personal, intimate. I sat there staring at his name glowing on my screen. For a long time, I didn't feel anger, just validation. The puzzle had finally taken shape. All the late nights, the distant smiles, the sudden obsession with appearances, they all pointed back to him. I remembered her laughter the morning I overheard that call, soft, confident, certain she was stepping into a better life. And I realized something. She wasn't escaping me. She was upgrading within reach. She thought she'd found someone smarter, richer, more powerful. That's when a strange calm came over me. I closed the laptop, leaned back, and let the quiet fill the room. There's a power in knowing the truth and not rushing to use it. A power in patience. Over the next few days, I gathered everything. Every digital breadcrumb, every inconsistency. I built folders, labeled them, printed copies, and stored them away. It wasn't about exposing her or confronting anyone. Not yet. It was about precision. When people betray you, they think your silence is weakness. What they never understand is that silence, in the right hands, becomes strategy. By the time I finished organizing it all, I didn't see her as a person anymore. I saw her as a pattern, predictable, traceable, finite. I looked around the house she'd abandoned and smiled for the first time in months. The foundation she thought she'd left behind was still mine. The papers, the accounts, the structure, all still bore my name. She had taken her pride and her perfume, but not her protection. And soon, that would matter more than she could ever imagine.